It was another successful day at the office for the South Sudanese delegation, as its investment authority signed a Memorandum of Understanding with South Africa's largest business organization, the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
This MOU is meant to formalize and cement the relationships, and flowing from the MOU, we seek to establish a business council so that this relationship is properly institutionalized and it becomes accountable to the business communities of both countries. So this is the beginning of the prosperity that we've been discussing the whole morning.
South African companies were out in force, making the Roadshow's Johannesburg leg the best attended. It could also be the most important, with calls for African businesses to invest in their own continent.
We don't complain when China put $60 billion in Africa. We don't complain when the Europeans put money in Africa. We don't complain when the Americans invest in Africa. We don't complain when the Middle Easterners invest in Africa. What's wrong with us when an African country or African entrepreneurs say we need to take a step? What's wrong with us when African entrepreneurs say it's time for us to make this continent and what we do? Because we, at the end of the day, that's why I told you, don't cut me. We got to tell our story. And if our story as Africans, if our story is just told by us always relying on aid, because let's be honest, our begging bowl is leaking. People don't like beggars.
Dr. Abraham Mamer from the Republic's Investment Authority led the Johannesburg delegation.
We prioritize our show to three sectors. One, and number one for everyone in the world, is food. South Sudan has enormous land that is ready to feed not only the Africa, but it can extend beyond Africa, because everything can be farmed and cultivated and harvested in South Sudan. So we have that. We also have oil. Only 30% of it is being explored, and out of that 30%, very small amount of it is now being utilized. So there is a potential in oil. Now, minerals, I don't know how I can count, because so far there are some of minerals have not been actually discovered, but we believe they are there in South Sudan.
With the Invest in South Sudan Roadshow having wrapped up, it's now time for the real work to begin, as the government prepares to welcome international businesses and traders to Juba. It's hoped this will stimulate economic growth to the benefit of South Sudan's citizens.